Hi friends, it's Grover. Do you want to be in this? I brought the puppy, so you know it's serious business. Hi, this is just a little intro, separate from the video, and I wanted to take a minute to share some stuff with you real quick. I wanted to talk for a minute about not necessarily what's going on in, get the fuck off the table, not necessarily about what's going on in Gaza, because I think we all know what's going on, and that there's a mass genocide happening right now. And let go of my shirt. I would be remiss to not speak about it as a creator with a platform. I've spoken about in passing helping the people in Gaza. I don't have a huge platform, but I have a platform, and what's the point of having a platform? Just in general, like if you're not going to use it for good, you know, or evil. But right now we're going to use it for good. If you don't follow Erin Hattemer on TikTok, you should. She has basically been, now really the pig, she's basically been trying to mobilize people to give a fuck. So she's basically started a project where you can adopt a family from Gaza to help them escape. And her link tree is full of families who need donations. And I have taken her list basically, and I've put it all in the description below. Sort of hijacked her list, but I want to continue to add to it as time goes on, as goals get met, as families get the help that they need. Honestly, consider donating to any of these families, one of these families, $1, 25 cents, whatever the fuck you can. I know times are hard. I know problems are relative. I get it. I do. I'm broke as fuck. I am here in this house because my car is shitting out on me and I can't drive anywhere right now. So like, I get it. Money problems specifically relative, but at this point it's not even a political thing. You know, I hesitated talking about it for a while because I didn't want to get hyper political on here, if I'm being honest. Honestly, my brain would kind of like overload, short circuit, and then I'd be like, no, I can't do it. But the reality is that the political part is not the part that creators, influencers, celebrities, everybody needs to talk about. The political part is the part that generally at some point resolves itself in some fashion. That part generally resolves itself. What doesn't resolve itself are families escaping danger, rebuilding their lives, saving their children, getting life-saving medical treatment, getting food, getting water, getting safety, getting shelter. That's human stuff, you know. That's not even political stuff. That left, right, black, white, fucking whatever, religious, non-religious, whatever, whoever you are, this is a humanitarian fucking crisis and we need to be doing something about it. If you can't donate, spread the word, share the links, do what you can. Erin is taking DMs for families who need money, but more than anything, they need the voices to push these, their names into the ether of other families who also need help. We're just trying to reach as many people as we can. So I've loaded my description with links to families' GoFundMes, to other ways that you can help. It's all down there. It's more comprehensive than what I had before. It will be in every video going forward. I will be adding to it as I get more to add to it. Anything you can do, anything you can donate, and if you can't, totally understandable. Please just spread the word. Okay, roll the intro. Me. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you've never been here before, that's my new intro. I hope you liked it. I am coming to you live from Whimpering Dog City. Thanks for being here. Today we're talking about Gabbie Hanna. I promised you a meteor video for my next video, And it's so fucking meaty, we're gonna do it in 2 parts. So that's 2. I'm Nixon. I haven't seen really anybody cover this. I saw one channel, like a rogue channel, cover this, and that was about it. But Gabbie did a talk at Oxford Union right before, or like right as she was coming back to be really annoying on the internet again. I say that with peace and love. Like, listen, you found God, that's cool. You want to make it a big part of your content, that's cool. I'm glad she's decided that she's better, even though she made no amends with anyone. It's fine. The Lord probably takes a hard stance against apologies. Anyway, she did a talk at Oxford Union. I haven't watched it. I thought we could watch it together and just kind of see what happens. I can't imagine it's full of humility or all of the truth. Let's find out together, shall we? So this will be part 1. This was like her talk, basically, which is like an interview one-on-one, and then part 2 is going to be the Q&A, which is an entire other like 30 minutes. If you're ready for part 2, it's not here yet, but leave a comment saying before we do, as always, make sure you are subscribed. Make sure that you like the video, because this took work. Probably cost me a lot of time and like copyright claims and like who knows what other blood, sweat, and tears went into this. Also, as a reminder, make sure you check out the links in the description for ways to help Palestinian families escape Gaza and get the things that they need. Okay, let's get into it.
Welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
This is awesome.
How are you
This is awesome. I agree.
feeling? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. This is really very cool. Yeah, we're still coming off jet lag, so we're like, is this real life?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. She wore a best headband and the Oxford sweatshirt she got at the airport, I'm assuming.
You're enjoying the Oxford experience so far. You've obviously got the merch on already.
Dude, Oxford is so cool. I literally got this like a couple hours ago because I just like, I need to be in the vibe. No.
Right, because why dress like an adult to a prestigious event in another country when you could wear a sweatshirt that you bought at the gift shop?
No, Oxford is cool. We spent 4 days in London before this, and we were all in agreement, like me and my friends that I came with, just like, oh, this is so cool. Like, this is the vibe that we were looking for in the first place.
I'm not trying to be a nitpicky bitch. I'm really not, I promise. I promise. I promise. I'm gonna give this like the fairest watch, okay? I swear. But she sounds like an idiot.
Different place, isn't it? It's not like London at all. Like,
yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, it's just like the energy is different. It's like busier, but also less busy at the same time. Yeah. Just a positive, human, energetic experience.
Well, I'm really glad you've made it here, given you've just got a new song out. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Imagine being the person that has to interview Gabbie Hanna for anything.
I wondered if you could tell us a bit about it. I mean, it's called Where Did I Go? Where did you go?
Where did I go? So it was just time to take a step back. I actually just posted a YouTube video about it, and what time is it right now? It just went live 8 minutes ago, actually. Yeah.
Didn't have time to research that.
I know. I didn't tell anyone, to be fair, so it's not your fault.
Well, I love the timing of this.
Yeah, it kind of worked out. Like, it was half like divine timing and then half a little bit of like, let me plan around that divine timing. But yeah, I was planning on coming back on leap year anyways, and then you guys had hit me up. And I was like, what are the dates? And like the flight was on leap year. I was like, okay, let me come back and immediately get on a plane, not have too much access to the internet, social media, be busy. And yeah, I made the decision yesterday to post the video today, so.
Wow. That was like a really good story.
Yeah, it just worked out that way.
And what inspired that song, apart from, I suppose, the break?
It was one of those ones that comes from, like, every once in a while I'll sit down and be like, okay, I really want to write a song about this thing, but usually it's just something that comes to you. And that was just like literally the way it started. I was on the way to like a Pilates class or something one morning, and my friend who's a songwriter slept over and she was downstairs, and I just sent her this voice note because we were like, oh, let's try to produce a song later. I was like, where did that go? And then it just turned into a song. Yeah. But I thought the timing would be great because a lot of it was about like, I mean, obviously I've been gone for a year. That's not what the song was really about. It was more so about like, where did I go as a person once I started performing for everybody else all the time?
I don't think she asked yet. Maybe you should let her ask some questions. Maybe I am trying to be a nitpicky. I probably shouldn't have done this video while I have PMS. Also, I'm sorry about the sound today because I didn't bring my mic. So you're getting the camera mic and I hope it's sufficient. If it's not, I'm going to be really pissed because it took me a long time to muster the energy.
So it's like by the time, you know, I started when I was like 22 or 23 or something. So I'm a 33-year-old woman and I'm like, whoa, I've been like in front of everybody since I was 23. Like most people kind of have a minute to readjust. And I didn't have that time. So it's time to just like step back and be like, who am I? Do I still want to do this? So I set myself a timer of like 1 year. And if at the end of the year I feel like I should come back, I will. And if I feel like I don't want to, then I won't force it.
And you felt that you did want to come back?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's on needing attention. I'm actually kind of glad that I like sat on this video for a minute because I didn't realize that I had still like followed her on Facebook, and I don't even know when I had done that. But she's been posting a lot of updates and a lot of updates, like lots and lots of updates, like so many updates. It looks like it's just kind of like a lot of her doing the same old thing where she's just like oversharing, overposting. A lot of it's about God as well, which whatever.
Yeah. Why do you think that was?
It just really came down to like, I have been given like so many blessings and gifts. So for me to just benefit from it for so many years for selfish reasons, and then just be like, all right, well, I got what I wanted. I'm not going to use it for anything else. It just seemed like a waste. Like I was given a platform, I was given an audience, sometimes great, sometimes terrible, but like no matter what, people are looking. So if people are looking, it would be really selfish to not use it, even if it's easier to like, it'd be easy to.
Do you feel you haven't kind of...
Okay, but what exactly are you using your platform for? What are you using your platform for, Gabby? Like what are we using the platform for? What are we spreading? Are we spreading the word of the Lord? Is that what the good that we're using our platform for? Because like, I gotta be entirely honest, I haven't seen a lot of good come from the platform of one Miss Gabby Hanna. And I've been covering her content for some years, so.
Set thing you want to use the platform for now, or are you still kind of figuring that out?
Totally. I think I know that the UK is like pretty plugged into American culture and like politics, but it's obviously not the same as like being there. It's become very like echo chamber, tunnel vision, and we have a lot of people saying the same things. I think we're getting a little bit tired. And it's time for people to say some different things.
Like what? Like what? What is the echo chamber? What are the things that are not being said? And why aren't you saying any of them? Like, what are you talking about? She talks like she's a political commentator. Like she literally just still does story times and some music here and there. I know, right?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I kind of like battled through a lot of just like, I'm gonna keep doing this. So I have so many experiences that I think they're important to share. Like if you have a valuable lesson, why keep it to yourself just because it's less embarrassing, I guess, would be the answer. It'd be less embarrassing to put yourself out there over and over again.
So what lessons have we learned? Because we haven't admitted to having a manic episode, to treating people like garbage, to, I mean, here's the thing, like you can't be a force for good and for change if you're not even willing to be honest with yourself and with your audience. So this sounds like a bunch of crap, a bunch of fucking. What do you think? Don't do that. I'll get it.
Well, it's quite a brave thing to do.
Is it?
I'm not sure I would do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
The audience feel, but
yeah.
Yeah, it was quite interesting what you said about, you know, starting off when you say 22 or 23 was when you started becoming really famous. Or was that when you kicked off your career, or when it took off?
I started when I was 22. I was like pretty significant by 23.
Right.
So that's when I was like, I knew that was going to be my living.
I hate that Gabbie talks with that vocal fry. It's really annoying. Yeah, maybe PMS is a bad time to make it commentate on a Gabbie hanna video. Because if you've been here before, you're gonna be like, wow, she's still a cunt. And then if you've never been here before, you're gonna be like, wow, she's a cunt, she being me. The concept of like interviewing Gabbie hanna about her life and her career is so, it feels so icky. First of all, like, why now? Weird timing. Second of all, every time Gabbie has the opportunity to speak about herself, it feels like a huge ego stroke, right? She loves talking about herself. It's very apparent that she loves talking about herself.
So how was dealing with fame at such a young age? Because that's only a couple of years off, or probably some of the audience are that age now. I can't imagine like being kind of scrutinized by the world at that age.
Yeah.
How did you kind of find it?
I mean, I honestly, I was like actually more lucky, I would say, than a lot of people, because a lot of people, especially on Vine, found it when they were like 15, 16, 17 years old. So I was like out of university, you know, kind of working in the real world. So I actually had it better than a lot of people. I think if I had been like a teenager, I don't know, I can't even imagine being a teenager growing up with like Instagram, which a lot of these people in this room, I'm sure, because you're about a decade younger than me, right?
Yeah,
right?
I grew up with it.
Yeah, so like Instagram came out when I was in college. Like it was like Tinder and then Instagram, I think. Like, you know what I mean? They were like right there.
Yeah. Only Gabbie hanna and James Charles would come up with that connection.
So we didn't have it like that. We had like Zanga and MySpace, but yeah, I can see why things mentally and spiritually, I think, are going the way they are now in Gen Z and below, because we just didn't have the same. Dude, it's crazy. Like, I really don't know how you guys are doing it. Like, are you okay? Are you okay? Is everybody in this room okay?
I think they're doing fine.
I feel we almost don't know like what the effects of it are going to be still. I mean, it's clear that effects are not good, right? But
yeah,
it's changing so much all the time. I mean, this is another thing I wanted to ask about. I feel like when you were on YouTube, I mean, this might be my perception of it, I don't know the figures, but it was at a time of like peak YouTube, because it was pre-TikTok, it was pre-podcast, it was kind of, YouTube was the thing. And that category of, well, probably YouTubers like yourself at the time with the story times and, I don't know, the makeup, get ready with me's and all that stuff, it was really taking off. Like, what was it like kind of being at the front of that at that time when it was so
it was
big?
so cool, dude.
Was it fun?
It was like literally, I've, in my opinion, had one of the coolest life experiences you could possibly have. Like, that world was so unbelievable and unreal that just like, I'll never be able to put it fully into words just how cool it was, because we were like creating something.
Yeah. Sure were. It's cool, dude. For someone who is actually like a really good, I would say, by my estimation, she's a pretty good writer. Like, her songwriting ability is actually decent. I wouldn't buy her books, but like in terms of being able to write cohesively and put together thoughts nicely in most regards, like, she always comes off like an idiot. I can't tell if she's like trying to, I know she's a very calculated person, especially in terms of her career, at least that's what I've gathered throughout the years. And like, I don't know if she's just like trying to be subversive. I don't know, but she always sounds like an idiot. Like, oh dude, it's so cool. Like, I couldn't even tell you how cool it is. Maybe like pull out a thesaurus before you go for an interview, you know? There's other words besides dude and cool.
Like, this wasn't a thing. Like, I was doing it before the word influencer became a thing. So we're just like, what are you? Oh, designer? Like, I don't know. Like, literally just making up rates. We were making it up. We were kids, most of us. Like, a brand would reach out and they'd be like, can we like give you this and this? And it's like, oh wow, they gave me that amount really easily. And then we would just say like a crazy number, and they'd be like, okay. So like we as creators started taking back control in a way that a lot of artists and creators don't, because normally you're paying like a production company, and like you have to, the TV company's getting paid, like all these people are getting paid, and then the face, like the endorsement, is such like a small amount of it. So it's like, okay, if these people are spending like this much money on like a Super Bowl commercial or like whatever, like if you get 10 million views on a YouTube video, like how much is your ad, like your personal voice in your program worth? Yeah, it was just, dude, it was like this is gonna sound so crazy, but it was like a economic like revolution in a way.
It was an economic revolution. Yeah, that's kind of the cool part about YouTube, and it still is. Like, it's still very much that way, only advertisers are a little pickier about what they'll pay for. And obviously YouTube has a different set of guidelines than they used to, and different parameters for things. But yeah, absolutely, that is the 100% the perk of doing YouTube or being a content creator, is that you are able to set your own prices. You are able to set, you know, for sponsorships and things. You are able to, you know, when a company comes to you and says, hey, I would really like to work with you, and then you vet them and make sure that they're not some fucking crazy scammer, and then they ask you for a pricing list. What you charge for your time, your effort, conceptualizing, writing, shoot it, to edit, to upload, to integrate it into your video, to follow all their bullet points of what they want you to talk about and how they want you to talk about it. So like, you set that price, and that's what they pay you if you guys agreed to work together. That's why it's such a sustainable career, even though it is a little bit precarious. Yeah, I mean, that is the perk of the job. You work your own hours, you create your own content, and even to get paid more, you set those prices. So yeah, absolutely, that's... story checks out.
It's like things are just different now. Yeah. And then I feel like when COVID picked up and everybody sort of had the time, like, dude, I just got super lucky. Like the timing of my situation, like the divinity of it, the calling of it, like the timing of it, like everything, like that was an anomaly. Like people have asked me before, like, how do I do it? I don't have any idea. Because nothing I did was on purpose. Like it wasn't a thing.
I don't know about that. I feel like she's spoken ad nauseum about her calculated career choices, right? Like down to choosing the correct time, because YouTube and your analytics will show you like what time your subscribers are all, you know, online for the most part, when the most of them are on, and you can post during that time because most of your viewers are online during that time, and it increases your traffic. And she's spoken recently about how when in YouTube's heyday, she used to post at those times, the suggested times where most of your viewers are online. Like, she's spoken before about how her Vine days, whatever that quote is about, she's molding young impressionable minds. Like, I don't feel like anything Gabbie's ever done, especially career-wise, has ever not been super calculated. So like this whole idea of like, I don't know how I did it. It was just the right place at the right time. Like, that's such bullshit.
But yeah, I don't know what I'm rambling about. It's just, dude, it was a crazy world.
Yeah,
it still is. Yeah.
Like I say, I think that's what a lot of us grew up with. So it's really, really interesting to hear about it.
Yeah.
How did you, like, what was your sort of week like? What would a kind of day-to-day have been like at that time?
Super rigid.
Yeah,
actually.
It wasn't sort of changing all the time. It was more...
Yeah, totally. I think that's like a misconception. I don't know like what it is to come up on it now, but like at the time, I think like in order to look like you're not working, you have to be working all the time. Yeah. Like you don't see me when I'm in work and when I'm out, because it is the same place. So it's super rigid. Like if I was posting, there were sometimes I'd post 1 video a week, sometimes I'd post 10 because it's Vlogmas, and there's 7 on my vlog channel and 2 on my main, and then an Instagram video every day, Vine every day, a TikTok every day, a tweet every day. Like you're curating content for like months at a time, and then all throughout the day, like you're posting at certain times and you're cross promoting. So like when you go to Instagram, it shoots to all these, and then when you go to that, it shoots to all these.
It was all a total accident, right? You're gonna sit there and tell me I'm wrong? Everything she does is calculated, okay? I stand by that. I don't even necessarily mean it as a bad thing. I just be honest about it.
And it's like kind of interconnecting into one world where like, kind of like, I feel like it's, I mean, kind of everywhere, where like you click into a place and you click into another place. Like if you're on your TikTok For You page and you're like, oh, like what's this? And then you click the sound and then you're on the sound. And now that you're on the sound, you go click this one creator and it's like, you start clicking the back button to try to get back home and you're like, oh my gosh, like I forgot that I'd like gone through all these dimensions. I don't know what I'm talking about, dude.
That's great. This is a really eloquent conversation. Glad we're having it.
I'm just saying stuff.
It's fine, we're enjoying it, we're having a great time.
Okay, cool.
Like you literally just answered a question. Like, settle down.
Can you switch off? You know, does it feel like every moment that you're in when you're at the shops with your friends, something funny happens, or whether you're going to a party or whatever, like, oh God, I have to vlog that or I have to film that because it could be good content. Like,
well,
how did you find
that's
that?
why I never really got into that world, and that's why I separated myself from groups who were in that world. Yeah. Because it was too trippy. I've talked about this in like my earliest interviews where it's just like, you don't see me publicly with a lot of people that I hang out with because it makes me like wildly uncomfortable to make it like a filming situation all the time.
Yeah. Draining, I'm imagining, right?
Yeah, and it was like that, just straight up. Like if there's like a funny thing that happens, it's just like, okay, wait, do that again. 4 people pull out a camera and everybody wants to capture that exact moment. And then there's all this like canned laughter that's happening naturally as they're shooting. And it's like everybody kind of turns on to like this autopilot of performance. Yeah, it's spooky.
And what did you find the culture like among other sort of creators? And I mean, even now as well, like, is it supportive? Like, is it collaborative, or is it quite sort of competitive? Are people trying to, I don't know?
I think it probably depends who your community is. Sure. And like, I've been off for so long that I'm pretty like,
you're removed a bit.
Yeah, but like the creators that I do talk to, like, it's all love, it's always support.
Listen, I feel like in general, not just speaking to Gabby's experience, I feel like in the beginning of YouTube, it was very collaborative, very much so. You grew from collaboration, and that was one of the selling points of YouTube, was that it was based on collaboration instead of competition, which is why there were so many groups of YouTube friends, because they just content beget more content. You know what I'm saying? So, and I do feel like in the beginning, Gabbie was a big part of that. Whether or not she wants to admit that is neither here nor there, but she, you know, definitely was part of the Vlog Squad situation. She was definitely, you know, she definitely had YouTube friends, and now she doesn't, because, and it's not because she like took a year off, dude. It's because she burned a lot of bridges. Like, she burned that shit with a tank of gasoline and every match available to her. She acted like an abhorrent asshole before she took a break. Well, before she had a manic episode and then took a break. Listen, I don't think that your mental health or lack thereof is an excuse for your behavior. I don't feel entirely right saying things like, you know, while she was totally manic and clearly in distress and needing help instead of scrutiny, that I want to sit here and be like, bitch, you said this and you said this and you said this when you were manic. However, she's not manic right now. And she did say those things. And if she didn't believe them, she would apologize. So, and by those things, I mean like the racist things that she said. You know, the transphobic things that she said when she was manic. I honestly, one of my greatest fears, and I think Gabbie has said this before too, is like not knowing that you're crazy and then doing something crazy. That would be my worst nightmare. But to have said transphobic and racist things on a live or in TikToks when you were manic, if you didn't believe those things, you would apologize for them, right? I don't know how I ended up on this tangent, but like, go with me. You can have poor mental health and be racist and transphobic. You can also not be those things and apologize for the things that you said when you were manic. This whole, I think a bigger problem than like this culture of like people losing their spirituality is people losing their fucking humanity. Way too many people are way too comfortable with being openly ignorant and gross and never making amends for it and just pretending like it never happened. Like this whole era of pretending this shit never happened is something. It's one thing if you made a fuck up 15 years ago and somebody caught it and, you know, that's, you know, you can apologize and move on from that. But like to never actually even even try to feign being sorry, even. I don't know. And then to like double down on it all. I don't know. I guess my point is that Gabbie's burned some fucking bridges, okay?
Like, yeah, I feel like I'm more so just interact with like painters or songwriters and people who are spreading messages I care about.
Yeah, people who have not already experienced like all the worst sides of you, who maybe are kind of unfamiliar with the fact that you've been really horrible to a lot of people. It's okay. They'll figure it out eventually, I imagine.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. I wanted to know, how did you decide to sort of change your career paths a bit into different avenues? Like, you've done so many things now. You've written, you've produced music. Like, how did you decide when to take those moves, I suppose?
Dude, I don't know. I was like one of those irritating kids that was always just like a show off.
Yeah, you're also one of those irritating adults. Go on.
So then when I like started off in my career, I was like, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. And I just like, if I would pick up an interest, I would just like want to put it out right away, and like learned a lot from that. I'm glad it happened. But yeah, I don't know, just like when everything's possible, because you can make anything possible, and that's not like a me thing, that's like anybody can make anything possible. But once you kind of like hit that spot where things are actually becoming like reality, it's like, oh yeah, I want to do a book, yeah, I want to do music, why wouldn't I like strike right now with the iron's hot? But I think that's one thing that always kind of differentiated me, was recognizing social media as a flash in a pan, where it's like, okay, this could be really long and really lucrative, or this could be literally a lottery that I hit for 2 years. So like I always just kind of like lived it like a lottery, trying everything I could while still being like as conservative as I can, just like smart financially. Like I never like wanted to, because you never know, dude, like try everything, spend your money right. Well, there was a bit of a feeling that it was almost a cliche that a YouTuber was going to put out a book and then put out a song or whatever. Did it feel like you sort of had to do that, or was it very much like you really did want to?
No, girl, adultolescence is an important work.
Well, the first, like right away, like you have agents on top of you being like, do a book, and people were asking me to do an autobiography when I was like 25 years old. And I was just like, I don't know if I have that much to talk about yet. Like, let me see what the end is before I write the, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't reached the conclusions. Why am I I'm gonna stop my autobiography right now? I'm like 27 and living in West Hollywood. Like, this isn't cool yet. Like,
honestly, an autobiography in parts would be kind of dope. I know there's some people who have done that, and I think that's really cool. I think you do like quarters, because your life changes so much and you can't remember everything. So it's actually kind of a dope idea. A kitty! Run!
But then, I wanted to do a poetry book, because I would like just like tweet poetry late at night, and my fans would be like, write a book. So I was like, why not? Like, I keep getting all these offers, like it would be cool to publish it. It was more of an art book to me than like my notes, my journal was just like things I would write down, or like I thought like the words were clever, or the drawing, whatever. But yeah, it was natural for me. I honestly will turn down ideas that I don't think are gonna be, I won't do it if it's not fun. And you don't want to work with me if I'm not having fun.
I don't want to work with you at all. I think even if you were having fun, you'd be a pretty miserable person to work with. But that's just me, having paid close attention to your personal and professional life for a few years. Not in a weird way, like in this aspect of my job way.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the book path or the music path more? I mean, I noticed you're still doing more music.
They're just different. Like they're all, like one thing I'm learning is that they're all different at the same time, and it's okay to not be like, okay, I have to like 100% do a book, I have to 100% do music. Like the music comes from the book comes from the music. Like it's all kind of intermingles, which is why a lot of times you'll see me like release things kind of all at the same time, like an EP with a book, because the EP was inspired by the book was inspired by the EP. This is all one collection of art from a period of time in my life that I don't want to hold on to it. Like I just want to put it out there and see what happens.
Did you how did you feel about kind of the reaction to the book? Obviously some people like loved it, and then also there was some people didn't like it. And was that kind of hard when it must be a very personal thing, right, to put poetry out? Some of it was quite personal.
Yes, I remember all of the most personal of the personal, such as time is relative, beauty is relative, family is relatives.
The thing with me with that was just like the first 2 or 3 years it was out, like everybody was just like really digging it, and it was fine, but then it just kind of became trendy to use my name, and then like one girl went viral who like, the actual critiques don't bother me that much, because like, this is gonna sound so bitchy, but whatever, like you have to be careful who you take your opinion from. Like you can say like you don't like my book, or you can like critique my literary style or whatever it is, but like I don't think you're interesting or intelligent or creative or artistic.
But that doesn't matter. Whether or not you find someone interesting, and by the way, this is about Rachel Oates, I'm 115% sure. It doesn't matter whether or not you find someone creative or interesting. If they're criticizing the actual objective errors or disconnect or the technical issues in your writing, that has literally nothing to do with whether or not you enjoy what they do. It's the parameters around which poetry is written, especially coming from a source whose meat and potatoes of their channel is fucking poetry in not to mention one of their passions is poetry, and something they know a lot about technically and otherwise is poetry. Their opinion is valid, right? Just because you know who Shel Silverstein is doesn't make you the authority on poetry, and it doesn't make your poetry fucking good. I feel like I've been saying the same thing for, what is it now, 3 years? Wow. You don't have to think someone's interesting for their criticisms to be valid or correct, even. If you're playing basketball and someone passes to you and you walk that basketball without dribbling it up to the hoop, that's traveling. It doesn't matter if the ref played basketball in high school. It doesn't matter if the ref plays for the NBA. It's still traveling. The ref still knows. You know what I'm saying? That actually turned out to be an okay analogy.
So why the hell would I take your opinion? You're a loser. Sorry, like your opinion's nothing to me.
Aw, we're still pretty bitter about that one, huh? It's almost like you really do care. And it's almost like her opinion does matter. Because it does. Time is relative. Beauty is relative. Family is relatives. I agree.
So like that didn't bother me. It just got like kind of like boring.
Yeah.
When people were just like you're burning a book in 2020 that you bought in 2017. I already got your money. You know, it's just like, it's old.
They bought the book.
But
who burned Adultolescence? Who did it? Who burned it? Who burned it? Nobody did, Grover. That's who. Literally, I don't think anybody did. If they did, I'd love to see it. You're very clearly still jaded by this. Like, you can pretend that you're not, but you're not fooling anyone. You're like, this is such an this is like a teenager would talk about something they're pretending to not be bothered by. Well, I don't even care. I'm not even bothered by it. It's just boring.
at the same time, like it did make me better. It did, because like when everybody's critiquing you, like I will always take constructive criticism. Like I am not that girl.
No, you are that girl. You are the most sensitive, ego-driven person I have ever witnessed do anything. I understand that like your poetry is your baby, your art is your baby. I get that 100%. I super get it. And it hurts when people criticize it, especially harshly. But that's art. That's putting out art in any medium, in any generation, in any format. That's art. There will always be critique, harsh or not harsh. Roger Ebert used to insult the fuck out of movies and actors when he would give his movie reviews. Absolutely fucking destroy them. It's part of the game. Criticism, heavy criticism, mean criticism, helpful criticism, constructive criticism, they are all part of art. They are part of us as a society.
Like, I want to know. I send my stuff to all my friends. Like, I'm posting something. I've sent it to 20 people already.
Yeah, 20 people who you're either paying or whose asses you've kissed. And not to mention, one of those 20 people was fucking Rachel Oates. You sent her a book to review. You sent her your second book. Can we please stop forgetting that or just fucking omitting it from every goddamn story, as if you were not literally handing it to her to ask her to review it? Like, who do you think you're fooling? You might be fooling this nice British lady in front of you. You might be doing that. But at least someone in that room remembers the way shit actually went down. Like, you can't just rewrite history. I won't fucking let you.
You know what I mean? I want you to tell me the truth, because like there's a lot of people watching, but anytime people try to bring you down, like if you're a like talented person, you're gonna become better because of it. So like they made me more talented, and that's dope.
Yeah, that is dope. Are you better at it though? Like, I will give credit where credit's due. I think Gabbie's a good songwriter. And you may argue that, you know, how can you be a good songwriter without being a good poetry writer? Because here's the thing. The things that she's trying to accomplish in poetry are things that require specific technique and things that require certain parameters. Yes, it could be seen as loosely poetry, right? Now, I imagine that there are some forms of like free-form poetry that don't require many parameters. Are you done yet? To come out and act like you are fucking Maya Angelou and that everyone was out to get you because of the way you behaved. Ow! To act like everybody was so out of line for even having an opinion that wasn't fucking positive, while you lie to everybody and say that you can take constructive criticism. Miss Gabbie Hanna views constructive criticism in a compliment sandwich. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. You don't necessarily have to be complimented in order for a criticism to be valid or to be considered constructive.
Yeah, and in general, that like being quite vulnerable, like online or in your art or whatever it is that a sort of thing that you felt you sort of had to do to, I don't know, get the clicks and get the views and sales, or is it something that like you made an active choice to do? Because I feel like it must be quite like a big decision to put so much of yourself like out there.
That's interesting, because I haven't given it a lot of thought until this very moment, but it wasn't like that initially. I remember the first time it happened, I was like stuck on a loop of like very rigid. And a lot of this is like OCD stuff that I'm like recognizing now, where it had to be like this exact minute of every single week, cannot miss an upload, cannot take a break, like with everything. So it was like every single day, like morning, noon, I was up till 4 a.m., waking up at 9, like doing the same thing every single day.
Am I mistaken, or were there many times in her vlogs past where she'd be like, oh, it's 1 o'clock, I just woke up? I'm gonna have to look at that. If I'm right, I'll put it here. If I'm wrong or I'm too lazy to find it, I'll put this here.
Acting different. What is so hurtful to me is that you won't just laugh with me and enjoy my genius. What are we talking about?
I asked you, like, did you decide to be vulnerable? Was it like, do you feel you had to do it?
I must be like disassociating or something. Like
buzzwords. Because before it was just the ADHD, right? It was putting the H in the ADHD, right? And then all of a sudden she had magic OCD, and then yesterday she declared herself autistic, and now we're dissociating during an interview. It's so fun and quirky to have mental illnesses.
Trauma. No, the first time I did it, I think I just like, I knew that I had to post that week, and I was just like, I can't like fake this week. So I was just like, let me just talk about how I'm feeling, like I'm a vlogger, whatever. Yeah. But the response was so positive and so overwhelming that I think it became a thing that was like reinforcing a behavior, where now this is like a conditioned response to a stimulus, which is like high engagement, interest, goes to views, goes to money, goes to praise, like all of these things that are just like inherently human desires. Yeah, it's just like too much praise for doing like the weirdest stuff.
Yeah, well, that's also like a job, you know. If you're being rewarded for your effort, you're going to put more effort into seeking reward, right? Because nobody wants to work in any medium if there's no reward.
I feel like you've come back here, you know, this is one of your first reappearances after like quite a vulnerable time, right? And I wondered if you don't mind, if you would mind telling us a bit about like that time and how it's been kind of coming back from that.
Repeat the first half of this question.
So I'm basically asking about like kind of August 2022.
Oh yeah.
If that's okay.
Oh my gosh, no. Honestly, I look at it with fondness.
This bitch just say she looks back on it with fondness?
God, I wish I could sleep. God, I wish I could sleep. I did it. I beat DID. I beat ADHD, depression, anxiety. You want me to do something better than this? You want me to do something other than fight for his kids? My kids? Our kids? What's better than this? What is better than this? Tell me. How do you want me to abuse my power? How do you want me to abuse my power? How do you want me to abuse my power? How do you abuse your power? How do you use your voice? What do you talk about? I'm talking about dying homeless babies on the street. What are you talking about? Where should I spend my time? Is that negative to you? Are the dying babies on the street negative to you? Am I projecting them and myself onto you? You're damn fucking right. So would you rather the kind colored girl stay in the ghetto like you want us to? Should I just stay out of the nice, beautiful neighborhood with the wonderful school district for my children? Love what God gave you. It's fun. Every sick thought you have, explore it. Is this safe? Is this sane? Yes, baby! You are safe and you are sane. You are confused. And I'm here to help you and show you, if you please, because I love you. Help me! Help me! Wake the fuck up! What would you like to know?
Well, basically, well, first I suppose, like, what, in your view, like, what happened? Like, what was going on at the time?
So right before that, actually, I had taken a break where, like, there were so many things that were holding me to the internet that I had to get past. Like, there's an album coming out. I can't just kill all of these projects that I spent all this time, love, energy, money, focus, attention on. Like, I have to, like, let them live. So it's like, wow, like, this is taking a long time to produce. This is taking a long time to get right. There has to, like, so I finally got my last project out, and then I was like, okay, that's it. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't like this. All my vault is empty. Let me just like disappear.
And that's why do you think you got to that sort of like point with it?
I'd been there for a minute. Like, yeah, like being famous is a job that they don't really like explain to you. Like, there are consequences to this. Like, if you want to work on Wall Street and make this X amount of money and get X amount of things, whatever, you have to make these sacrifices. So when you step into that industry, it's like, you can have all of these things that you want, but you have to make sacrifices.
Yeah, that's any job though. Like, that's literally anything in the world. If you want anything in the world, you have to make sacrifices. That's not specific to Wall Street and creative jobs. Like, that's very normal.
And nobody tells you what they are. And with Vine, it became like literally no barrier to entry. So like, if you were, you know, trying to be an actress or a host or whatever it is, you have to like go through a certain process. You have to like learn how to be professional. You have to practice your craft. You have to like take rejection. You have to like have all of these things putting you down to humble you first. What Vine did, and a lot of like, you know, I guess internet content in general, is it just really highly rewards minimal effort and poor behavior. So we're creating monsters, and I'm saying this as somebody who was a part of that machine. It's like, oh, like, you're obsessed with yourself, you're talking about yourself, like, this is all about the way you look, the way you sound, like, pay attention to me, like me, like me, like me, like me. And then not only are you getting all this attention and validation and like popularity and fame and status, you're also making money. So this like becomes this world of just like, dude, it's like in reinforcing the worst traits and inclinations of human beings.
But do you think we could get around to the point pretty soon, or?
Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about again.
So
Me either, dude. Me either. But this is an adorable interview.
So now you're saying, so we're talking about the fact you've spent a long time in that industry.
Oh,
basically.
yeah.
So that, do you think that's what basically led to?
Oh, so yeah, I was just like, I was kind of over it. Like, I was like, this is not good for me. Like, the public wasn't responding well to me. And what really came down to it is just like, am I going to choose my pride or my peace? So am I going to like keep kind of trying to defend myself, keep trying to like regain something that once was? Or am I just going to accept what God is trying to give to me and step away?
No, that's a really wonderful rewriting of history though. But I'm going to stop you right there. You created a series trying to expose everyone on the internet for their wrongdoings towards you. And every step of the way, there was somebody to go, no, Gabbie, that's not what actually happened. This is what actually happened. No, Gabbie, that's not how that happened. This is how that happened. No, Gabbie, actually, I wasn't terrible. You were. And they all came with receipts, and they all debunked everything you had to say. And it was embarrassing, frustrating to watch you continue to try to ruin other people because you were not in a good mental health space. That entire summer, what summer was that? 2021? That entire summer, you spent trying to ruin other people. Was it summer? It feels like it was summer. I don't know. They're all summer to me. Gabbie spent that whole time trying to ruin other people, starting with Rachel Oates, moving on to people like Joey Graceffa and Daniel Prada, and however you feel about them now, that's how you feel. I don't really care about either of them, but watching them own the shit out of her was necessary and a little satisfying. Jessie Smiles, of course, took her down several pegs when she thought she was doing the most. Alex James took her down several pegs while she thought she was doing the most. Like, she came for Angelica Oles. She came for literally anybody who said anything with the angriest series of all time, full of projection, full of accusations, with no actual proof. So to rewrite, like, you had been fostered in this community of people who were treated well for doing dumb shit, which is not untrue, but it is not the reason for the season, because that opened up a whole Pandora's box of erratic behavior from Gabbie Hanna.
Yeah.
And I stepped away. So I put out the music, or I put out that album, then I stepped away. And I took maybe like somewhere around 2 weeks from when I promoted the album. I was like, I'm done. I deleted all my apps. And then I came back like 2 weeks later because I was just like, I'm not gonna let people just like win over me. Like, I can do so much with this. Like, when I started, it was always with mission. It was always with purpose. It was never supposed to be about like me and my music and my poetry. Like, it was always about something further. It was about something to like put back into the world and create change. Use a voice, use a platform, use resources, and actually do it right.
To do what though? Again, I'm still wondering what it is that you're doing with your platform. Because again, I'm not saying like her music's not bad, the songwriting's okay, like all of that, it's fine. But like, what are you actually putting out into the world? Because see, like, if I wanted to put good into the world, and I had spent a real long time trying to eviscerate people on the internet because of, I don't know, me feeling bad about myself. Or perhaps if, like, I don't know, while having a mental health episode, I said a bunch of really concerning and horrific things about some marginalized communities. I would think a good thing to do with your platform is, I don't know, apologize. Do some work to prove that, like, I don't know, you're not a piece of shit. That might be a good jumping off point, you know, before you're gonna save all the little babies on the streets in your quote unquote performance art. What is it that you're doing with your platform again? I must have missed it.
But I kept like putting it off, where I was just like, there's always a reason to like not get started, right? Yeah. So I'm like having these revelations of like, I can't just get away. So I got back online and I was just like pissed off. Like, I was angry because I was like, I don't want to be here, but I also can't like walk away from this. Yeah. So then I remember I was doing like spoken word, like everything I was posting was under Gabbie Hanna poetry. So I was doing, I think it was like, I wish I could sleep, God, I wish I could sleep, but I can't sleep, there's babies dying on the street. And I'm like telling these stories of like, this is serious. Yeah, see, like people know it's like a meme. Yeah. But it's like, I'm literally doing slam poetry about children dying on the street. And you open up the comment section, nurse, she's out again. Somebody help her, she's crazy. And I'm like, oh, we're all free Britney, until this successful, talented girl is doing real stuff and being constantly told she's crazy, constantly being gaslighted when I'm telling you I'm fine.
I will never, and maybe this makes me a piece of shit, I'm never gonna buy that. I'm never gonna buy that story. I'm never gonna buy it. Not with the way that the rest, you know, the things that were memed, maybe. Okay, maybe you put it there and you were, you know, I would say at best it was half wanting to spread a message via slam poetry and half wanting people to be concerned about you. Help me! Because it was so easy for her to go viral, remember? So she wants people to be concerned about her because that's where she gets her attention from. She no longer gets attention from being funny or telling good stories or having something insightful to say even. She gets attention when she acts, for lack of a better word, crazy. The fact that she let a stranger into her home.
By the way, Nick?
Yes.
I know you know who I am. Come on. Why did you lie to me this whole time? Why did you lie to me? That's for my acne, you dumb cunt. Get the fuck out of my house. Now. Now. Now!
There was just so much about that does not add up to, well, it was performance art. You wouldn't get it. It's all free Britney until what'd she say? A smart, talented girl has something to say and then people are calling her crazy. Are you fucking for real?
I'm pointing at the mirror. I'm pointing at the mirror. I'm pointing at my 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 mirror. I am pointing at my mirror.
Making people concerned about you, your safety, your mental health, your well-being helps nobody. Just because it puts more eyes on you doesn't mean that it's doing any good. Imagine a world where you can do something good for somebody without having to make it about yourself, without having to make people worried about you, without having to make yourself the center of it. Because baby, until you pull yourself out of the center of the issue you're trying to get across, it's a self-serving issue because you make money from TikToks like that. You're out here making money, getting more clicks and views, getting people talking about you. It's not doing anyone any good. So, I know. I agree. We're almost done.
My bills are paid. My house is beautiful. My staff is paid. Like, my life is fine. Why are you so worried about me?
Because your behavior was erratic and terrifying.
Help me! Help me!
People were concerned about you.
The cops just came to my door because they got a call saying that I was gonna hurt myself or somebody else. And then they asked me about some screaming in the backyard, which I'm assuming means I got some type of report from the neighborhood.
The more that you insist that you're fine and that this is normal and that this is something other people do, that this is art, that this is you taking a stand, that this is a normal thing for anyone to do, even if they do have money and their bills are paid and they have staff. It's not normal. It wasn't normal then. It's not normal now. It wasn't performance art. I'm sorry. I will never buy that. It's okay to be mentally ill. It's okay to have needed help, to have done something embarrassing on the internet. Those things are okay. Like, that's life. Shit happens, okay? But denying it to your core until the very end, years later now, coming up with stories to make it seem less than it was is such a fucking reverse gaslight. Are you fucking, we are reverse gaslighting in 2024? I think the fuck not.
Yeah. Like, why am I the crazy one when you're watching me live my dream?
That is gaslighting. If you were around for the gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss, Gabbie Hanna era, you know how much she loves to accuse people of gaslighting. This is textbook gaslighting. Well, why are you watching me? I'm just living my dream. You're making content on a platform with millions of followers, dumbass. That's why. I genuinely forgot how exhausting she can be. I'm glad I'm doing this in 2 parts. I wouldn't survive the other part today.
So I was just pissed off, and like somebody said the thing, like all the comments, like if you go look at it today, nurse, she's out again, nurse, she's out again. And I was just like, and oh, somebody said somebody help her, because that's like one of the memes. Somebody help her, somebody help her. So I said, help me. I'm the person who didn't go to Coachella to go volunteer in Watts, to go help the kids who need help. I'm the person who won't tour unless it's a food drive. I'm the person who's constantly raising money for the homeless. I'm the one who's doing all of these meet and greets only if you come and pack lunches for the people who are suffering from wildfires. Why do I need help?
Girl, again, if it's self-serving, if you're gonna use it to brag about it later, if you're gonna use it in an argument where people are just genuinely wanting you to be okay. That hurts. If you're genuinely, whether that was the intention at the time or not, taking the things that you've done for other people and then using them as leverage when someone comes back and says, someone help this girl, then what was it, so that you could use it at a later date? Was that just part of the arsenal in your mind of things that you can use towards other people? Is that part of like the backlog of screenshots that you have that you'll put in at the wrong time? I'm bleeding from you. This like, I can't believe you're so worried about me. I'm the good Samaritan here. I have done more good than anyone else has ever. Like, people who have concerns about you, the way you're behaving, the way you are acting online, the way you are treating other people, the way you speak to people, they could be just as charitable, if not more charitable than you've been. Don't rip my sweatshirt. Oh God, I forgot how frustrating she is.
I don't think people know about that.
They don't,
That's
because they don't
interesting,
care,
isn't it?
because
Yeah.
that's not interesting.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's not interesting. I do remember several years ago, Gabbie talking about, she was doing something with, I think it was either like a women's shelter or a homeless shelter. It was on her vlog channel. And I thought it would have been a really cool idea for her to, and maybe this is hypocritical given the things that I've just said, but like, I thought it would have been really interesting for her to feature some vlogs of what she is doing in charity, because she's always touted about how charitable she is, which is wonderful. It's good to be charitable, but not like this. Not in a way that you can pull it out of your back pocket and use it against other people in the future. First of all, we're all supposed to be mind readers and know what kind of charity she participates in. Absolutely. Not only that, but to also be like, have that, to have that information like at the ready, just to be like, what do you mean I'm acting erratically? This is my charity work. Don't you know? There's nothing wrong with me. I do charity work. Okay. I do charity work too, and there's a lot wrong with me.
I just thought it was quite interesting because I feel like we do see this quite a lot with like people will be absolutely adored, like publicly adored, and so many licensed. I mean, we saw it with like Millie Bobby Brown at one point. Everyone was bullying her online, and it's quite a scary part of the internet. How did you sort of come to terms with that, especially? Because I'm assuming originally, like, it felt like you generally just had a very supportive fan base, right? Like when you were doing the Gabbie show and stuff. And how did it feel when it then turned sort of a bit darker, like the memes and things like that?
Like, when do I think that happened?
Well, just saying, like, how did you deal with that? Like, how did you sort of come to terms with
I mean,
it?
not well. It was definitely like a slow, like, it definitely chipped away at me for a long time.
Yeah, clearly. Because you just went on a, like, I don't even care rant about Rachel Oates, and that was what? Was that 2020 that happened? Maybe 2021? 3 to 4 years ago? Over a book critique? I mean...
And it was, I mean, I always look at everything as like what like was the divine nature and divine purpose of the situation. And now when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, this really had to chip away at my like innate desire to be acknowledged and praised by other people. So I think that for me was probably the biggest part, is just like when you're seeking that validation when you're younger so much, it doesn't come. All of a sudden there's millions of people, there's brands like kind of telling you you're awesome all the time and like just feeding your ego and like providing anything that you want. Yeah, I was surviving on that. So like that was the hardest part, was like the ego death of it, of like, oh wow, like this wasn't real love, this was fake love. What does that mean? Who am I as an adult without all this like approval and praise and attention and validation outside? Like, am I good enough with me, and what does that mean?
I gotta be honest, I don't think I was really paying attention to that answer. No, honestly, like, all good words, I don't think that that's an authentic answer, if I'm being perfectly honest. I mean, I could be wrong. Like I said, she's been gone for a year before she came back relentlessly. But I feel like that's such an inauthentic answer. Like, I had to like grow up and like figure out who I was as a person outside of all that validation. It's like, okay, well, you seem like kind of a miserable person outside of all that validation. And maybe that's just not putting on airs anymore. Maybe that's just your 30s, which, girl, I get it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's your relationship like kind of with the internet now? Like, how are you feeling about coming back to it? And
I'm really excited about it because I just like took a lot of time to kind of ask myself those questions over the past year, like if I was going to or not. And I think it's coming from a lot more grounded space where, like, to be honest, like you can say and do anything and like I don't think I'm going to be bothered.
Again, you're still very much bothered by a book critique you received at least 3 years ago. I find that difficult to believe. But I hope that's true, though. Honestly, I do. I hope that that's true. I hope for nothing but mental peace. And I genuinely, I hope that it's true.
Like, what are you gonna do to talk shit about me on the internet? You know what I mean? Like, I'm square. So yeah.
I was interested also in what you said about like the echo chambers thing now, and I wondered how you feel kind of the internet's changed over the period you've been like, you know, working in it. Whether you feel like it's got maybe more open in terms of like discussion and debate, or whether it's perhaps getting more closed, because obviously that's a lot of what we do here, you know, is debating and talking about ideas people maybe don't want to talk about. Or
I think the pendulum is swinging for sure. I think that things that were once sort of considered the thing to like rebel against are now the things that are rebelling. I think there's a lot of, there's just a lot of pendulum swinging right now. I think that it's going to get a lot hotter. I think people are getting braver because, I think it's worldwide. I don't think it's like just so much American, but there's just like, there's so much stuff that's so like, I'm trying to think of how to word this. Just like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? It's like, what is this conversation? Like, I feel like we're debating over nothing.
She literally just asked you a question. If you think that echo chambers are still prevalent on the internet, you're overcomplicating every question and then going, what are we talking about? What are you talking about? Echo chambers are either prevalent still or not prevalent still. And either way, you could just say that, okay?
And like,
with like certain issues online.
just everything. It's just like, everybody just like shut up, just like for a minute.
There is a big trend of, I think, like, I mean, it depends how seriously people are taking it, but very small things turning into massive internet debates. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is such a weird example, but did you see you're on TikTok, I'm guessing, like as a watcher sometimes. Did you see the thing where like a girl didn't get the cake she wanted for her birthday, her sister hadn't made the cake or something? Did you see this?
No, there's just so many videos.
There's like, no, it's not that interesting. That was a very random thought, but it's these like small videos that can spark. I mean, like one discussion that's like big at the moment is, should you put your kids online, right? Like things like that. I don't know. What's your take on that, for example?
Like I have nieces, I won't post their faces. I guess I don't actually know like the reason why, because it's kind of like posting a license plate where people are like, don't post that license plate, and it's like, you can walk out on the street and see the license plate, like it's not doing anything, like it's not a private.
Are we really implying that we don't understand the dangers of putting children online? Because it feels like we're implying that we don't understand the dangers of putting children online.
Information. So like, like if you bring your kids out, people will see your kids, but I think people are just so like weird. So like if you put a picture of a kid, like they might just like grow a hyperfixation on the kid. Like, you know, people get obsessed like in stalkery with celebrities.
People take images of children and use them for CP, you dumbass.
They might get obsessy and like stalkery with like those kids, and we don't know like what that's gonna look like. Like what's my future look like? So what does that look like for my niece if I posted her when she was 10 and now she's 20, but like people still remember from, just, you don't know. So give them the chance to be public figures or not, I guess.
I think another interesting thing about the kind of like change over time is how like you as a creator or like as an individual do you feel you have to like reinvent yourself to stay sort of not relevant, but like to keep people interested, or like something Taylor Swift talks about, right? Like,
I can answer that for you. No, Gabbie doesn't need to reinvent herself to stay relevant. She just needs to start shit with somebody or herself, and then pretend like it was art and purposeful, but not something you should take too seriously. Like a lighthearted, digestible read with complex themes about childhood trauma.
And you do see people do it a lot online. Is that something you felt the pressure that you had to sort of Because for example, your hair like changing, that was always a massive thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was just like me vibing. Like I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be able to dye my hair my whole life, or at least I won't want to. So let me just like, it's already bleached. Like let me like do green now. You know what I mean? But no, I don't think me specifically. But I also was never the person trying to like follow a trend. People were just like, I didn't even notice that was something that people did until like I got to know like people more personally, like kind of watch their workflow, where it's like, what's trending right now? Like that's never been me. So I'm personally always like becoming somebody new, like having different styles, dressing differently. So I think that naturally translates.
I think of all the things that translate, that one is the most unnatural translation I've ever witnessed. Everything she does is a costume. Everything she does is trying on a new personality. She will never know who she is because she never ever actually seems to explore her true self. She just puts on a new costume and calls it authenticity. Also, I have a really hard time believing that Gabbie never followed the trends. Like, she so badly wanted to say that the trends followed her, which fair, you know, in OG YouTuber land, yeah, for sure, trends follow you, but like a big part of OG YouTube was following trends, right? Trends and challenges, all that shit were super relevant in general. Maybe not personally, she feels like she never followed trends, but okay, sure. Who am I to say?
But I'm not interested in like, oh, new album, gotta be a new person now.
Sure.
Usually it happens naturally, because like when I put out my rock album, like I was feeling kind of emo, you know, now I'm not. So like my song is like poppy again.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It is interesting though, I think that like people would be so excited by someone else dyeing their hair, you know? Like it's kind of strange, right? Like,
no,
was that
super
not
weird.
A bit strange for you, and
super weird.
Is it a lot of pressure sort of thinking, oh, how am I gonna like look in this video, or what am I gonna wear?
No, not really. I think like growing up like so unaware of myself and just being like kind of weird, and then realizing I didn't see it but other people saw it, like I just like keep doing that. I don't really care. Like I can't care about a lot at this point, to be honest. Just whatever makes you comfy, I guess. Like I packed an outfit, but I bought this from the souvenir shop and I thought it was way cooler. So you just gotta go with the flow.
No, it's great.
Yeah, that is great. Anyway, I'm really glad that this part is over. I straight up legitimately forgot how absolutely exhausting Gabbie Hanna can be. And I don't say that to be mean. I say it because I genuinely forgot how exhausting she can be. There's gonna be a me yelling at this dog compilation, but just know that I love him and no dogs were harmed in the making of this video. Her insistence on rewriting history is just, oh, it's just so much for the brain, so much for the brain. Anyway, I'm gonna go decompress a little bit before I edit this because holy shit. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you. Thanks for being here. So as a reminder, all those links in my description are there to help the families trying to get out of Gaza, trying to get medical help, trying to get their basic needs met. Anything you can donate, any word of mouth, anything you can share, anything like that is more than welcome. If you have any other sources, places to donate, any other families that you know of that I haven't covered, anything at all that we can add to that series of links, I will add it. You can email it to me. Email's there. There's also like a clickable link, a linkable click in the description. So send it to me. Don't spam me with your bullshit. I'm not joining your MLM, so fuck off. But if you have anything legitimately you want me to add, please let me know because I want to get as much attention on these issues as I can, Grover. Yeah, so that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. I appreciate you. We'll see you in part 2. Grover, say bye. Not to me. I'm not going anywhere. See you next one. Bye.
Help me! Help me! Wake the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
Ow, my ass hurts on this couch. Oh my Jesus. Not necessarily about what's... Dude, you're killing me. Stop it! This is very helpful, Grover. Thank you. Are you eating my bag? What is the problem? You have been out, you have been walked, you have had treats and chewies. You are just fine. Lay down. Your mother doesn't talk to herself enough and it shows. What is this piece of hair doing? What are you doing? Rogue ass bitch. Just let me talk to myself for a little while, okay? You got a crazier eye than me, sir. Wow. Grover, I've been saying the same thing for 3 years, man. You're hurting my hands. What the fuck was I talking about? I need this video to be over now.